The front door didn't slam. That was the problem. It closed softly, click, like it didn't want to be remembered, like it assumed I would forget it ever happened. Mom was already halfway down the steps, sunglasses on, phone pressed to her ear. My sister laughed behind her, suitcase wheels rattling, talking about beaches and blue water and how the sun there fixes everything. I stood barefoot on the kitchen tile, the cold seeping up into my bones, holding the money Mom had folded into my palm. 34, she said, not looking at me. Stretch it. You're mature, Ash. Mature. I was 9. She set a credit card on the counter and tapped it once, like punctuation. Emergency, she added, smiling fast. Then she bent, kissed the top of my head, too quick, too light, and turned away. 3 weeks will fly by, my sister called. Don't be weird. The car started, the driveway emptied, the house inhaled, and didn't breathe out. I stood there for a long second, listening, waiting for someone to come back, waiting for a joke, a correction, or we forgot something. Nothing. I whispered, okay, to the empty room. My voice sounded smaller than I felt. I lined up the food like a soldier inspecting supplies. Half a cereal box, 2 soup cans with no pull tabs, rice with no instructions, ketchup, olives I hated. I told myself it was enough. I told myself adults knew things I didn't. That night, I tried to order pizza. The app blinked red, declined. I tried again, slower, careful. Declined. My chest tightened as I checked the card. 0 balance, overdue. The word emergency felt like a lie that had learned how to smile. I slid down the cabinet and sat on the floor, counting the cash again. $34. I imagined it evaporating. I imagined days with numbers instead of meals. Upstairs, the house creaked, not comfortingly, watchfully. I slept with the lights on, my shoes by the bed, the money under my pillow like it could keep me safe. I didn't know it yet, but the quiet click of that door was the sound of my childhood being left behind. By the 3rd day, hunger stopped feeling sharp. It settled in like fog, thick, quiet, everywhere. I ate cereal dry, 1 piece at a time, letting it soften on my tongue so it felt like more. The fridge made a hollow sound when I opened it, like it was embarrassed for me. I stood there longer than necessary, hoping something might appear if I stared hard enough. Nothing did. I called Mom at 7:00 p.m., voicemail. Again at 8:15, voicemail. I left a message that sounded normal. Hi, it's me, just checking in. I didn't say I'm hungry. I didn't say I'm scared. I didn't want to sound like a problem. That's when I grabbed my notebook. I don't know why I wrote the word in capital letters, pressing so hard the pen nearly tore the page. Evidence. I wrote the date, what I ate, what I didn't eat, the calls that didn't go through, the silence that answered instead. I turned on my phone camera and filmed the fridge, the empty shelves. My voice shook even though I whispered. Day 4, I said, still alone. I watched the video back and barely recognized myself. My eyes looked too big, too old. That night, I texted my sister. Are you guys okay? No reply. The house made noises that didn't belong to it, pipes knocking, wood popping, the clock ticking too loud. I turned the TV on just to hear people talk, even though they weren't talking to me. On day 6, I stood up too fast and the room tilted. I sat back down on the floor, breathing through it, telling myself not to cry. Crying wastes energy. I added another line to the notebook. No contact, no plan, still waiting. I wasn't writing to be exaggerate. I was writing so someone, someday, couldn't say they didn't know. When no one comes, you start leaving proof, because being forgotten hurts worse than being believed. The knock came on the 7th day. 3 taps, slow, careful. I froze in the hallway, my heart slamming so hard it made my ears ring. Nobody knocked on our door. Packages were dropped. Neighbors waved from driveways. Knocking meant someone expected an answer. I thought about hiding, about standing still until the sound went away. Pretending I wasn't here felt easier than explaining why I was. The knock came again, firmer this time. I crept to the door and peered through the peephole. A familiar face stared back, older somehow without the classroom around it. Nemser, smart, my school counselor. Her eyebrows were knit together, his phone already in her hand. I opened the door a crack. "Ashley," she said softly, like saying my name too loud might break me. "I've been trying to reach your mom." My mouth opened, closed, the truth lined up behind my teeth, pushing. "She's on vacation," I said. "For how long? 3 weeks?" Her eyes flicked past me into the house. The quiet answer for me. "Is there someone here with you?" she asked. I shook my head. She didn't scold me. She didn't sigh. She just swallowed and stepped inside, her gaze moving slowly, from the empty counter to the bare fridge to the notebook on the table with EVIDNC screaming from the page. "How long have you been alone?" she asked. "A week," I whispered. Saying it out loud made it heavier. She pulled out a chair and sat. "Are you eating?" I laughed, a small broken sound that surprised us both. "Not really." That's when the tears came, quiet, angry, relieved. I wiped them with my sleeve like they embarrassed me. "This isn't your fault," she said, firm now. "Do you hear me? This is not okay." When she stepped into the hallway to make a call, I sat very still. I knew what that call meant. I also knew something else. Someone had finally seen me. The moment help arrives is terrifying because it means the truth is about to get louder than the lies. Mrs. Sullivan arrived with a knock that didn't scare me. It sounded warm, like she expected me to be alive on the other side. She didn't ask questions first. She handed me a paper bag, the kind that crinkles with promise. "I brought soup," she said, already stepping inside like the house belonged to concern, not silence. The smell hit me before the bowl did. Chicken, carrots, salt. I sat at the table and wrapped my hands around the heat, afraid it might disappear if I moved too fast. "Eat," she said gently. "We'll talk after." I cried into the soup, big quiet tears that tasted like relief. No one told me to stop. Sir." Smart returned with a woman named Carla. She said she was a caseworker, said it calmly, like a seatbelt clicking into place. Carla didn't rush. She asked questions one by one, and for the first time, I didn't feel like answering would get me in trouble. Mrs. Sullivan sat beside me while I showed them the notebook, the videos, the call logs with dates and red circles, evidence lined up like witnesses. "You did the right thing," Carla said, her voice steady but her eyes soft. "You protected yourself." Mrs. Sullivan squeezed my shoulder. "You were very brave," she whispered. I wanted to argue. Brave people don't count crackers. Brave people don't pretend hunger is a game. But I nodded anyway. That night, I slept in Mrs. Sullivan's guest room. Clean sheets, a lamp left on just enough. She checked on me twice, not because she had to, but because she cared. "Tomorrow might be hard," she said at the door, "but you won't be alone again." I believed her. For the first time, being seen felt heavier than being invisible, but it also felt safe. When kindness arrives, it doesn't erase the past, but it makes surviving it finally possible. They arrived laughing. Suitcases rolling, sunburned skin, my mother's voice loud with stories that didn't include me. The laughter stopped the moment they saw who was waiting in the living room. Sir, Smart, Carla, Mrs. Sullivan, and me. My mother's smile cracked. "What is this?" she demanded, already angry, already defensive. Carla didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. She laid the evidence out like cards on a table. Photos of the fridge, call logs, my videos, my notebook, open to the page where the dates bled into one another. "You left a 9-year-old child to starve, unsupervised," Carla said, "with no food security, no support. This meets legal criteria for neglect." My sister crossed her arms. "He exaggerates." I stood up before fear could stop me. My legs shook, but my voice didn't. "I wrote everything down," I said, "because I knew you'd say that." Silence hit harder than yelling. According to the order, I was to remain temporarily in the house and under the care of Mrs. Sullivan. Visits to my mother were to take place only in the presence of a social worker. Consequences, real ones. As they argued, I felt something unexpected settle in my chest. Peace. That night, back in Mr. Sullivan's house, I added one last line to my notebook. I was seen. I was believed. I am not invisible anymore. Sometimes the ending isn't forgiveness. it's safety, and that can be enough to finally breathe. Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.